Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Gaming Pubcast. I'm Duncan and I'm here with
Tom. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
How you doing?
I'm all good. How has your week been?
Good. Can't complain.
Yeah. How has your gaming week been?
Quite good. Had an exciting experience, which I'll go into a little bit later.
Is it suitable for children?
Yes, it is. Fortunately, and it was my son's 12th birthday, so there was some.
Happy birthday, Tom's 12-year-old son.
Yeah, so we had some bit of gaming on the go there, so that was good. So yeah, it's been a good week. And yourself?
Well, yes. After your recommendation last week, I've been playing. I don't Axelay or Axelay.
Axelay.
Axelay. It sounds like he's got an axe and you're slaying somebody. But it's a shoot 'em up, is it? And
it is.
It has two sort of modes. It has a parallax kind of Space Harrier kind of mode, which for me was the weaker part. It didn't work as well, but then it has got a side-scrolling one, which works really well because you have up to 3 different types of weapons that you can pick between them at any time.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that surround you or attack you at certain times, and there's a bullet that shoots around you, but then there's basic ones that shoot forward. Yeah, the side scroll was really good, and I think like you said last week, there's big enemies. So as shoot 'em up's good goes, pretty good, pretty good.
Did you succeed? Did you beat the game?
Well, once I remembered I was playing it via emulation, I realised I could do save states. So I'm on about level 5 now, but originally I think I got to level 2.
It's a hard game.
It is really hard. I mean, I suck a bit. So I remember I had R-Type on the Spectrum. This is probably 35 years ago, and I don't think I got anywhere past the beginning of the second level.
It's about where I'm at.
So the fact that now I can just go on YouTube and look at how the rest of that game looks is amazing because never got to see anywhere past that. But no, as I said, level 5. So it does it where it's a Space Harrier type level, side scrolling level, and you can pick different weapons between each other. Yeah, so it was good fun. Yeah, I'd say it was worthy of the high rating. Although for me, the Space Harrier style levels are the weaker part. Not
has an interesting ending to the game when you complete it. So, not what you'd expect.
Is it like one where, like with Double Dragon, where you have to fight yourself or something?
No, but yeah, definitely the what's the outro screens is where we're at, and that's quite unexpected.
Yeah. Well, I shall keep going then.
Let me know when you get there.
Or I shall just go on YouTube. I will try and complete it though, if it gets too hard, because although I've cheesed it a bit by doing save states, I haven't entirely got it where I haven't been touched. So I have lost some lives.
It'll never happen. You'll always get touched. Like Contra, you're always going to get killed.
Yeah, they're always hard. Yes. There are some bits where I had to load the state. I don't. If anyone doesn't know, on emulation, quite often you can press one button and you save exactly where you are in that state. Precisely. You don't have to have a save point or anything like that. You can just save anywhere you want, and it's a great way if there's quite a long time between save points or between levels like this game where you've got a level that might take 5-6 minutes to complete. It's a lot easier to get to the end of the level.
As you see the bullet coming towards you, save state.
Yes, you do. You do run the risk of that. Although they do generally have multiple save states, but it's quite difficult to use them on a handheld.
That was one of the downsides of the mini consoles. You could rewind the game.
Okay,
I didn't like that.
Don't use it then.
Is that?
I mean, there is. Forza. This is why the Forza games single player are very easy, because all you got to do is go, oh, didn't like that corner. That I didn't go very fast out that corner. I'll just rewind. And obviously purists will say, "Oh, no, you can't use that." But yeah, I use that a lot. I have no problem with the fact that I play things on easy, and yeah, if I find a way of doing something quite easily for the sake of story, most of the time, I will do it. Alan Wake 2, I'm playing that on easy, which means I have loads of ammo and weapons and all that kind of thing. So I think I got trailed off a bit there. I don't know. We were talking about Axelay, weren't we? And now suddenly talking about gone back to Alan Wake 2.
Can't help yourself.
Can't help myself. No,
it's just looking for a sponsorship. That's what it is.
if Remedy want to, send us. I think they've got a multiplayer shooter in the works or something that they've announced is still, or it was going to be free to play. Was that their one? And now it's going to be a multiplayer. I don't know, but they have some kind of multiplayer shooter in the works. How that'll work, I don't know. Will it be in the Control and Alan Wake universe, the Remedy MCU version? I don't know, but hey, send us a code. We'll help you test it. Other than Axelay, what I have been playing at Alan Wake 2, I've got quite far in that. There was a section in it where, this isn't a spoilery thing. You basically you go through with loads of video panels around you, and it's a musical with some of the characters on video screens dancing and singing, but it's like a proper rock musical, and it was awesome, absolutely amazing. And I posted about it on a group and on the Gaming Days group, and loads of other people came out saying, "Wasn't that amazing? It's so good." So yeah, it's if people want to get to it, it's when you get to control either of the main two characters. Choose Alan Wake, and pretty much straight away you'll get that level. It's superb. If people want to experience the music, if you go on Spotify, there is actually an Alan Wake 2 official playlist that has the songs on it. But I haven't checked over the lyrics. The lyrics might be a bit spoilery, so probably don't look at them. Don't listen to them.
Caution.
Although I think it also maybe explains a bit of the Alan Wake universe. But yeah, it's so good. I wish I could play that level again, but obviously once you've done it,
can't rewind.
Can't rewind in modern games. No. That's what we were talking about. Save states, wasn't it? Yeah.
We were.
So
we're talking about devices and things you can play things on. I was very, very lucky this past week to get a hands-on go at the Vision Pro, the Apple headset that's coming out next year.
Ooh.
How and where I won't mention, but I was it's definitely worth.
I thought I saw Tim Cook in Essex the other day. Yeah,
he was on the end of the pier fishing.
Yeah.
With a couple of donuts, and that's just the alcoholics. But he, how can I describe the headset? It's comfy. It's really well balanced.
So is this a developer machine? Is it different to the end user machine or machine headset? I don't know.
I can't say.
I suppose it's probably unknown, isn't it? But
I've got to be a bit careful here.
Yeah.
I can't say.
Was it heavy? Was it heavy? Like,
I was told.
I mean, you have a Quest 2.
I was told it was heavier than the retail unit.
Okay. What about compared to the Quest 2 that you have?
No, I'd say lighter than that.
Lighter than that? Excellent. Well, it does. I mean, the obviously the units that they've showed off, they don't look as big as the.
It doesn't have a battery
Quest.
in it.
Of course, yes, you have that in your pocket, don't you, or something?
Yeah. And to describe it, you put the headset on and you see your surroundings. So, for instance, I'm now in my open plan lounge diner kitchen. So I would see everything around me in, I would say, almost 8K, maybe more. and then you get your menu.
So you see that through cameras. You don't just see it's not through glass or anything.
No, it's through cameras.
Oh well.
And then your menu pops up, and your menu is almost free floating, and you can then have the menu. You can change where the menu is positioned, and then you kind of look at the menu at the item you want to select, and it just knows.
Oh, so it's got eye tracking.
Okay. Yeah, but this is not eye tracking as in MetaQuest eye tracking. This is eye tracking on a whole nother level, and I'm not a big Apple fan. You know me. I like my iPad. That's about it. We were discussing this before the podcast. You look at the app. It selects the app. And now you go into this mode where you're surrounded by these different scenes, these themes. And one of them was a lake. And everything's moving. It looks like you're there. And then you can pull up this 150-inch, maybe more screen that's in like 8K, I think, maybe even more. And then you can play Game Pass on it, or you can watch a movie, or you can, I don't know. So, but then there's also these other apps where you can do your work on it. You can work from the app. This particular unit had a app that was being developed that allowed you to access Microsoft apps. Mm-hmm. Directly through some, I don't know how it works.
Well, I think Microsoft would, they'd definitely be getting in there. Although they do have their own mixed reality headset, obviously, but theirs is more enterprise based.
It definitely knocks the socks off the HoloLens. So, but yeah, fantastic. I
think we discussed earlier that, I mean, Apple products are not bad products. We just don't like the ecosystem, I think.
It needs to be opened up.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it'll be a great headset. Mm-hmm. But equally, I could get a decent second-hand car for £3,500. Or I don't know how many pounds it is. It's $3,500, just to clarify. We don't know. I don't think we know the price in the UK yet. I
think it's pretty much the same.
It's pretty much if it costs £1, it costs $1.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So yeah, I'm never going to buy one. Personally, if somebody wanted to send one to me and get me to review it, I would absolutely love it, and I would sit there in my living room playing Xbox.
Pop down the pier and have a chat with Tim.
If Tim's down the end of the pier having a can of special brew, I'll just see him now.
Oh, can you
imagine Tim Cook with a can of special brew down the end of the pier.
Yeah, surrounded by a bunch of hoodies.
Yeah.
God.
What? Get an iPhone, Tim.
Couldn't possibly begin to do a Texan accent. Yeah.
Here's the important thing for them: not only let's say you bought one, would you be tempted to buy an iPhone so that it worked well with the Vision Pro? Yeah. So it is a game-changing device in your eyes.
It is,
but personally,
leaps and bounds ahead of all of the VR headsets that are on the market now, including those that 12K
the enterprise kind of models.
This knocks the socks off all of those from what I've seen. And if someone said to me, "Here's $3,500, you've got no other things to pay off, you can freely spend the $3,500," then yes, I would get one. But being a dad of 3 with a mortgage and cost of living, no.
Yeah, it's definitely a luxury item, but it's also their first one, and I think we were saying as well, this will open up the floodgates for higher quality devices. Because if let's say Lenovo decide to bring out something that has similar specs, but isn't Apple, and works with whatever software, whether that be a future version of Android that works with this kind of thing, or a Windows thing, or whatever, then theirs would cost £2,000. And then you're going to have Chinese knockoffs that cost £1,000. And then those ones in 2 years after they come out are going to cost £1,500 and £500. And then eventually you're going to have, whether it's Meta making it or Microsoft, are going to be bringing out devices sub £1,000, sub $1,000 or whatever, or inflation's going to meet, prices go up, prices are the same kind of thing, but we can afford them. And so, so I think it's a good thing, but
I think it'll advance the industry considerably very quickly. But I
it's not gay. It's
I don't
a toy.
foresee it selling.
It's a toy.
Well. Yeah, I don't foresee it's a yuppie toy, and I don't foresee it selling millions and millions of units. But it is something that I would quite happily own. But then I feel I would be sucked into the vortex that is the
Apple ecosystem,
and I think the only way for Apple to go beyond that is to open their devices up to Android. If they opened the Apple Watch up to Android, they would literally overtake the entire industry. Let's face it.
If I get a pig defecating on me from where it's flying above me, I shall then wonder if Apple are going to open everything up to Android. But yeah, as we were saying earlier, they're off air. The RCS is being taken on by Apple, but they're doing it as a sort of, oh look, we're great because we're taking on the new industry standard.
But only
aren't we great?
Text messaging app. Now nobody uses text messaging on an Apple phone.
But I think the blue and green. Is it blue if you're from texting an Apple person, and green if you're getting it from Android? And that's still staying apparently.
So essentially, you've got
they're still going. Look, that person's on Android.
You got the 15 Google related text apps and messaging apps because Google can't seem to make their mind up, and then you've got Apple who have iMessage and their text messaging app.
So going back to gaming though, what could you see the Vision Pro doing for gaming? Anything or other than having a giant screen in front of you?
I think where Apple's going with this, they're getting like Resident Evil and things working on the iPhones. And then I think what we'll find is they will start to release console orientated quality games for things like you'll have the scaled back version for the iPhone, the mid-range version for the iPad, and then the supersized version for Apple TV and Vision Pro.
Oh, but how powerful is the processor in that though? I mean, obviously it's more. Is it more powerful than the iPhone Pro or the Pro Max or what? I don't know the naming.
I think it's like an M2 chip, isn't it? I think it's there with the...
Is it the full M2 chip? That's the same that's in the laptops.
I don't know. I think it's multi-chip.
The Max.
I'm not up on it.
I don't know the technicalities of all them, but yeah, I can see it.
Going to get into gaming.
Oh yes, the actual playing Resident Evil has started. I've seen a few reviews, and yes, they've all said, oh, it's only 720p, but you're playing 720p on a phone, so who cares?
If Apple get into gaming,
apparently the battery it absolutely rinses the battery if you turn on certain bells and whistles, and also that I saw a Linus Tech Tips used a heat camera, and they were like, wow, and apparently they literally couldn't hold the phone because they were like, oh, that's there, no, that's a bit toasty.
I think if Apple get into gaming and do it right, I think we will see a change to the console market quite quickly.
What, as in, do you think making their own games, or do you think just the hardware?
I think they will do what Microsoft have done with Game Pass and bring a lot of high quality titles to Apple.
Well, they already do Apple Arcade. Can you see things like maybe Resident Evil Village or whichever one it is? coming to Apple Arcade.
Yeah, I think in Apple's game plan, and I don't think Apple has a game plan anymore. I think they've lost that since Ives has left and Jobs has passed. But I do think their the spectrum of things they're planning is going to be getting into gaming and removing either Nintendo or Microsoft out of their way. I can't see them ever lifting PlayStation out of the way. Nintendo have already made it clear they're not going to sell. So Microsoft are moving into streaming only. Let's face it, we know that's coming.
Yeah, they're not. To say they're not bothered about devices is wrong. I think they want to sell it, but the fact is, if they get enough people signed up to Game Pass, which at the moment there's so many people using. I've said there's so many people using the cloud that generally you have to wait nowadays. I think there'll be a 2-tier streaming. Like game streaming coming out soon. I think there'll be a Game Pass Ultimate Premium or something like that, where you pay an extra, I don't know, £2 or £3 a month, and you get priority queue. Like GeForce Now, you can have the free for an hour, you can pay, or you can pay to be first in the queue.
Or you can pay for free on an Apple device via GeForce Now.
Yeah. So
I think
Microsoft are too big to, and if Microsoft did go, oh, we're losing money hand over fist and we're not selling anything, blah blah blah, they'll just go, yeah, whatever, we'll take the hit.
I can't see Microsoft releasing another physical console.
Oh no, I think they will, but I think like you just said, that they will look at streaming. I think that is heavily what they're doing.
For the last 2 generations, they've been destroyed by PlayStation and Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean Nintendo, their first party is what sells for them. They have obviously with Microsoft shown that they want to have things like Call of Duty and your adult games on there, so to speak, because a lot of their first parties. But Sony, just for me, just they still do these things where they're like, oh, they're stuck in the 2000s of the keeping this and separate, and I don't know how to explain it. I mean, Microsoft are obviously buying up a lot of developers, but PlayStation have already done that. That's why they've had some of the exclusives. But I don't know. I just think that all it takes is one little slip up. Like with the PlayStation, the reason why the PlayStation 3 was behind the Xbox, I think originally, was because of the price, and that was literally it. It was the PlayStation 3 was really expensive. People bought the cheaper Xbox 360, and they had exclusives like your Gears of War, your Halo, that kind of thing. And all it takes is for Sony or Nintendo. I mean, if Nintendo brings out another Virtual Boy, then they'll mess themselves up. I don't know.
But the most, was it the Xbox or is it the PlayStation 3?
What sold the most? I think initially it was most definitely the Xbox 360. I mean, I think most people would agree that Xbox won the 360 and PS3 generation, but PlayStation 4 absolutely destroyed them because they came out with all the TV stuff. And it came with Kinect, which meant the Xbox One, again, which they didn't learn from PlayStation's mistake in that they brought out a really expensive console and people didn't buy it because they didn't want Kinect and they didn't want to pay that much money. So they then got rid of the Kinect and people started buying the Xbox One. But by that point, PlayStation 4 was miles ahead. And that's just carried on. Now that the general consensus is each generation should play the previous generation, whereas before that was a sort of sometimes we will, sometimes we won't. Most of the time wouldn't. That's carried on for this generation. People are like, oh, PlayStation 4, I've got I'll get the PlayStation 5 because I can play my games. And
Yeah.
equally, I've got an Xbox because I've got probably 600 games on Xbox. So if I go to PlayStation, I'd have a paperweight. Not so, it's a perfectly fine piece of kit, but it would be a glorified paperweight for me because I'd still be playing Game Pass or games that I own on Xbox.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find what the Xbox 360 sells. So it was 87.4 million global sales.
Okay.
And, oh no, sorry, 85.73 million global sales. PlayStation 3 was 87.4. So
pretty much the same.
yeah, a few million in it. So
yeah. I was going to say I'm looking on Wikipedia. Yeah, and there's literally the PlayStation 3 has overtaken it.
Yeah.
And then you've got to remember that the Xbox 360, probably outsold the PlayStation 3 in some places, but like in Japan, the Xbox 360, you could count on your fingers how many it sold.
Yeah.
So it all depends on where you are, and
that's it. Definitely,
it's all good though. I may be an Xbox owner, but I own a Steam Deck. I have owned a PC, good enough to play, and do you know what? I see the exclusives like Spider-Man 2 that's come out recently, and the Final Fantasy 7 second part of the remake coming out, and it's like, that's fantastic. That's great gaming. I love people get into gaming. That's just love gaming.
Interesting note here: the Virtual Boy sold 77,000 copies. So, whereas the Genesis Nomad, the portable Mega Drive, sold 1 million units. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just look at some of them are some of the things are rough estimates, but I mean, some of these, I mean, even the N-Gage, the Nokia one sold 3 million. That's 3 million disappointed people.
Yeah, that's about right. So,
but I mean,
we digress.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, people say that people will still say that the Quest 2 is a niche product, but it's sold more than the Wii U, the PlayStation Vita, the Master System, the Game Gear, the Dreamcast, all these kind of things. Even the original Xbox, only sold a couple of million more than the Quest 2.
Yeah.
So,
and why is that? Is that because of originally cheap games, which are throwaway, or is it because now we're looking premium games for like 30, 40 quid on the Quest?
Yeah, I mean, I think now you're getting more people developing for it. So originally it was. There are a lot of experiences on it. That's the problem. You have to find the things that aren't. Well, let's face it, rubbish, or very short. Something like, oh look, this is something you show your gran. Here, gran, put this on. Yeah, it's funny, that isn't it? Yeah, video your gran falling over, and there you go. The Quest 2, though, now people are hearing about Beat Saber. They're hearing about the Star Wars experiences. They're hearing about the Tabor, the something of Tabor. It's like a Tarkov style game that's very brutal. PUBG.
Oh, goes to Tabor.
Goes to Tabor. That's the one. Which is getting very popular, and so it's really good.
Yeah. Well, we shall see what happens with the Quest 3 and the. There's quite a few different headsets coming out now before the Vision Pro, so we'll see.
We've digressed again, haven't we?
As always.
So shall we go on? We were going to say about the awards. It's like the awards season in gaming, wasn't it? So there's two main awards that have been out. There's one that's actually the winners have been announced, and there's one where the nominees are there, and you can still vote, because it is 10% public. So the first one was the Golden Joystick Awards. Now this is entirely public voted. So personally, I think that means you can take it with a pinch of salt. But it's a good indication. It's like Metacritic, isn't it? It's a good indication. The big ones, the big winner was Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 got best storytelling, best visual design, studio of the year for Larian, best game community, PC game of the year, and ultimate game of the year. And best supporting performer for Neil Newbon, which I believe is the vampire guy. Oh my god, I've forgotten his name. Anyway, yeah. So won quite a few. It's no doubt. There was a couple of surprises we were saying. The best multiplayer game was Mortal Kombat 1, which I think by the time this was voted for, had probably been out a couple of days, or a week or something.
I didn't get that one.
It had a lot of problems with it, didn't it? Technical problems.
And also, what I've not decided, I've not played it. So if you have, you'll be able to answer this. Is it just the original Mortal Kombat, but rehashed? And
I don't know why they've called it Mortal Kombat 1. It's basically, what is it, Mortal Kombat 12? And it's probably a bit like they're doing with a lot of these games now, is they're bringing out a base game so that they can then add all the things, as whether that's paid DLC, free DLC, I don't know. I mean, personally, there's a Mortal Kombat on Game Pass. I really don't see the point in paying for this one over paying for that one.
I'd rather have Mortal Kombat 3, the original ones from the Super Nintendo days. Brilliant game.
I've got the original one on a Mega Drive Genesis emulator, and fantastic game with the Liu Kang with his kicking thing. Fantastic game.
That noise could have been taken any other way. You do realise.
We could take a clip out and
So an interesting one. Best gaming hardware, PSVR 2.
Yes. And there's VR on there, and there's the VR game of the year, wasn't there?
Resident Evil
was Horizon Call of the Mountain. So basically, and this is the problem. You've got a publicly voted one. It's going to be the biggest selling hardware. So you've got Horizon Call of the Mountain. Now, the Quest 2 probably does have more owners than the PSVR 2. So don't know what that is. But they do have, as we said, talked off air, they do have Nintendo Game of the Year, PC Game of the Year, Xbox Game of the Year, which was Legend of Zelda, Baldur's Gate 3, and Starfield, for anyone wanting to know. On PlayStation Game of the Year, I think we were both surprised by this, Resident Evil 4, which, great game, but you've had Baldur's Gate 3, you've had some other games that I can't quite recall right now, but great game, but a bit of a surprise there.
Horizon Call of the Mountain, I can see that being a great VR game for the PlayStation VR, but it's not out on any other VR. So, but then there are so many other games out on VR platforms.
I mean, Horizon Call of the Mountain is I haven't played it, but
very good.
Apparently, reviews of it have said that it's a beautiful VR game and it plays very well. And let's face it, the only VR game that will probably stand up to that that I can recall is Alex, Half-Life Alex, which came out not this year. So it's a discussion point that it's a PlayStation VR game, I think.
And Legends of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to the what was it called?
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, that's the one, which was originally a Wii U game, which was improved for the Switch.
Well, I'm afraid that there wasn't a Wii U section, I'm afraid, for this year.
Sorry, Martin.
Joystick Awards.
Sorry, Martin.
Yes. Obviously, it would be, yes. it would be probably Breath of the Wild if there was. Probably
Outstanding game.
every year for the last 7 years or whatever, whenever Breath of the Wild came
that
out.
or Mario Kart, one or the other.
Yeah, so I think most other, there wasn't really any surprises. Still playing award No Man's Sky, which again, it's really good support, so things have been added all the time, major updates. Best indie game, Sea of Stars, which I have actually started on. It's on Game Pass. It's like a pixel RPG, your sort of Final Fantasy style, turn-based combat. But Baldur's Gate 3, the big winner. So we've got...
Before Duncan, before you bring it up, let me just say it, and don't get upset that I've said it. Critics' Choice Award was Alan Wake 2.
Yes, critics. See, the one that isn't actually voted for by the public. Yeah, Alan Wake 2. It is a fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic game. And it's the only one chosen by critics. I can see that Alan Wake 2 would, if this had been done a couple of months later, then Alan Wake 2 might have popped up on a couple of those best audio, because from that one, visual design, it's a really beautiful game and good setting and everything. And also
for the next award.
Performance. You've got the performers here, the lead performers, supporting performers. That was the Golden Joystick Awards. As I said, I think other than the Critic Award, 100% voted for by the public. Now, the next one, we looked it up, is 90% critic or professional members and 10% public voted. So you can actually vote for this. It's the Game Awards, and I think it's something like thegameawards.com. I think as this episode comes out, you can still vote for them. And then Game of the Year straight away. They've got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. So have you got a pick from there?
I'm going to say probably Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you? How many of those 6 have you actually physically played?
What's the list again?
Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
So I've played Spider-Man 2. I've played Resident Evil. I've played Zelda and Super Mario. So I am definitely going to say...
So the 2 that I've played 3 of those, but 2 that I've mainly played are the 2 that you haven't played.
Yeah.
So we fulfill all the... we can give opinions on all of them.
I would say graphically, Spider-Man 2 is up there.
Yeah, graphically, I think I'd probably go with either Alan Wake 2 or Spider-Man. Spider-Man looks gorgeous, but then Alan Wake, although most of it is in dark places that scare you, it is a beautiful game. It's very good looking.
I think Super Mario Bros. Wonder is...
Baldur's Gate 3 is very, very good looking as well.
Yeah, I think Super Mario is definitely the most inventive Super Mario game in many, many years.
Yeah, I still stick by the fact that it's taken a lot of influence from Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that. But fantastic game, and I'm loving it. I'm playing through it still. I'm loving it. For Game of the Year, though, I would probably go for Baldur's Gate 3 personally. Just the freedom in it, and that's the main thing in it. It's the freedom to do what you want. Is just amazing, absolutely amazing, and it's all the way it's scripted and the way the game works. It just feels like it's taken somebody 50 years to write every opportunity, every possible outcome, and it's just fantastic game. I'd highly recommend it for anybody. But what would you pick in terms of Game of the Year?
Again, I'm going to go with either Spider-Man or Mario. So That's my.
That's not picking one, though. That's not picking one, is it?
Mario.
I would probably put. If I was to do a top three, it'd probably be Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, and Mario Brothers. Only because I haven't played Spider-Man 2. I've tried Tears of the Kingdom. It's not for me. Resident Evil 4. I'm sure it's great.
We've been there before.
Yeah, been there, done that.
But then same with Spider-Man. I mean, graphically, it's amazing. But actually, you could go and get the original Spider-Man game, or you could get Miles
Morales. Yeah.
You could
and I can get that on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, you can always even go back as far as the Spider-Man games on the PlayStation 2.
There you go.
It's web slinging. It's the same. It's just
better
graphics.
Yes. It's just, I remember it being quite low frame rate. But generally, a lot of you've got best game direction. You've got pretty much the same. You've got 5. Yeah, other than it's the same list, just without Resident Evil 4. Super Mario, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3 are in most of the categories. Best score on music is Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Legend of Zelda.
Best mobile game. That one's
has got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man. Games for Impact is definitely not any of them. I think that's basically ones that bring a social commentary. Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3, and whatnot. So they are best VR game, Gran Turismo 7, Humanity, which is a game that me and you both loved. Basically, Lemmings with people.
Yeah.
Horizon, Call of the Mountain there again, Resident Evil Village VR mode, and Synapse or Synapse, whatever. Have you heard of that one?
I call it Synapsis, but I might be wrong. Really good game. Really good game.
Yeah. What is that?
Oh, hang on, bear with me.
Have you played it?
I have, but only once. So I'd be hard pushed to give you a good description of it.
Okay. Well, they've best action game, Armored Core, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. Any of those that you played?
No.
I have not played any except for Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush, I couldn't get the hang of it. It was because it's an action game, but it rewards you for doing things in time with the beat and the music.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get the hang of it. So that wasn't for me. And all the rest of them, Armored Core is another Soulsborne, but with mechs. And so that's not for me. Dead Island 2. Again, I liked Dead Island 1, but it has a weapon when weapons run out. And I can't stand that mechanic. I really hate it, where you make a weapon. Do you know what? Weapons do not just generally wear out. Okay, you might smack a hammer over somebody's head and it might break. So there should be a chance of that. But generally, do you know what? A hammer doesn't wear out. I can smack it in a zombie's head and it doesn't wear out. So stop putting that. Oh, I hate it. I hate that. And the good thing about playing on PC, though, is that generally you can get mods that get rid of that. Yeah. Durability, that's the word I'm looking for. I hate it. I hate the durability.
I've just found a really good 2-line description of Synapsis on the PlayStation VR 2.
Okay.
And it describes
it's on PSVR, is it?
Yeah, it describes it as a dual-wield brutal firepower and surging telekinesis in the ultimate mind-breaking VR shooter. Become a mind-breaking operative and evade the twisted subconscious of a notorious, and then it doesn't tell me any more from that, so whatever that is.
No. Of the notorious what? What? I need to know.
I need to know now. I'm going to go find out. 1 second.
Well, best action adventure. Yeah, you got best RPG. Let's face it, best RPG is going to be Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
You've got some great games there: Starfield, Sea of Stars, Lies of P, Final Fantasy. The best action adventure. Oh, that's a difficult one because you got Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 in there, and Legend of Zelda.
It's got to be Legends of Zelda.
See, now, best action adventure game. Is Legend of Zelda Zelda an RPG or is it an action game?
No, it's an action game.
Oh, that's fine. That was an actual question.
Best fighting game. I like this one.
Well, I mean, basically, let's face it, that's between Mortal Kombat 1 and Street Fighter 6.
It's got to be Street Fighter 6.
Well, no, I haven't played either. In terms of going back to the history, yes, I preferred Street Fighter 2 to Mortal Kombat. But Mortal Kombat was great fun. But they all pale in significance to Soul Calibur 2. So,
Duncan, dude, no.
Oh my God. What, are you a Tekken person?
I am a Street Fighter 2 person and a Tekken 3.
Tekken 3. Don't get me wrong. I love Street Fighter 2. I loved the Tekken 3 and Tekken Tag Tournament was my favourite. On the PlayStation 2. Just remember getting that and playing that for hours and hours. The Brazilian and hours.
Doing the Capiero.
Oh yes, Eddie.
Yeah,
but he was your cheese character, wasn't he? He was the one that you could give to somebody who went, I don't know how to play this. You go, pick him and just bash the buttons, and they go, blah, 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 and they'd absolutely wipe the floor with you.
Yeah,
there was a couple of ways you could just guarantee. All you do is you just have to riposte at the right time. But generally, he was the cheesing character.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got? I mean, there's so many character sections for this awards, for the game awards. Best multiplayer, still Baldur's Gate 3 is on there.
Yes, winning this year,
and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. So basically, I think the Game Awards and the Game Joystick Awards should basically this year be called the Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Resident Evil 4, and
a little tickle from Super
Mario Wonders Awards, because that's going to be, other than your occasional different thing like best debut indie game. There's some fantastic games there. Cocoon, which I think I posted on our Facebook.
I haven't played that yet.
It's a mind-bending but really satisfying puzzle game. Dredge, which I haven't played, but apparently a lot of people absolutely love. Pizza Tower, which is I actually have I had a post on the group, the Gaming Dads group, and basically a load of dads was saying how that was great for their sons who had ADHD.
Oh wow!
It's a very fast-paced platformer game, and all the dads were like, "Oh no, my eyes just can't take it because it's very bright, very fast." But it's got really good reviews. So Pizza Tower, it's a Steam game. It's a PC game, so that'll be for the Steam Deck. Venba, that's on Game Pass, I believe. That's the one with the South Asian family, I think. I haven't played that one yet.
Nope.
And Viewfinder, I don't know that. That sounds like it'd be something. I bet that's going to be a scary game.
So, Duncan, if we had the Duncan Gaming Awards
for this year,
no, overall, all time greatest ever game, and you could only pick one, what would it be? Actually, no, I'll go easy on you. Three best games of all time, any system, any era.
Now, I mean, it's very hard because there's games I've played for many hours, many hours, that I wouldn't put in probably my top 10. I mean, GTA Online, fantastic, and if there was the ability to play online, it's got infinite possibilities. and people are so creative with things that are done. But it's only good if you got good people to play with.
Yeah.
If you go on a lot of servers, you'll just get people doing, aerial bombardments on you and attacking you for no reason and just being idiots. Blimey. So for story and just for length of game, it'll probably be Final Fantasy VII, the original.
Okay.
I have not played, actually, although I love Final Fantasy VII, I have not played the remake. Because it's Square, so they don't reduce their games on PC very much. So I just generally haven't bought it. In terms of replayability, I'm going to go with Hitman. As in the most recent one, Hitman 3, basically, which is now called Hitman World of Assassination.
Yeah.
It's just a sandbox puzzle game, basically, Hitman. But what other game can you either run around dressed as a clown, slapping people with a fish, or be really stealthy and dress up and you can role play as these characters, but you are literally role playing as these characters. You can dress up as a security guard, and if you stand in the security areas, you're fine. But there are certain people who might go, "You're not a security guard. I know you," because whatever. Fantastic game. Or you can just get a gun, run in, and start shooting people. Whatever you want to do, and it's so good, so good. Just then, I don't know about picking a third. I think, I'll stick with two. Those two.
I like
those two. I think they would. Desert Island discs. They would keep me going for a long time.
Just about.
Yeah. There's so many games that are really good though, and I mean, I've loved gaming for 40 years, and it's such a good time now because the abilities of the hardware that we've got is so powerful, and the abilities of the games and the in-depth nature of the games. You go back to Jet Set Willy, it was walk along, jump, along, jump, and you'd go on a different screen and you walked along and jumped.
That's true.
But so the fact that you can have massively in-depth mechanics to a game is just amazing. I love gaming. I don't know if I told you that recently.
No. You should run a podcast.
I should also not drink while we're. Although we are called a Pubcast, so
Well, this is it.
So I think we've been chatting for 52 minutes now. We were going to talk about arcades, which we will probably now, I think, probably wait for another episode because 52 minutes, pretty long because we'll probably still natter for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But preview. Any arcades? What would be your Desert Island arcade? Just a preview of another episode.
I would say.
Are you a Daytona person?
I do like Daytona. I'll go backwards on this. Worst game of all time for me would be Time Traveler, which is the Sega.
Are we on arcades now or arcade, just worst game?
Arcade.
Okay, Time Traveler.
I'll give you my top three in a minute for the rest. Time Traveler, 3D holographic game by Sega. It was one of the first ever holographic games.
Was each one of the holographic games, as in sort of that had just the wireframe 3D kind of thing?
Oh no, this was proper holographic. It was pretty impressive, but the game was dreadful. I would say RoboCop Arcade would be one of my second favorites. And I would say probably the original Space Invaders would be one of my top games.
Going old school. Old school.
Yeah. But if you want, we'll talk about the for the last few minutes. You're saying about top three games of all time.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't ask you
No, I was
what
just
yours
thinking.
were.
Yeah. Oh well, do you know, I wasn't even thinking until I then just said, "Oh, actually, I should answer mine." So I would
Your own
say,
question.
yeah, I would say third would be Gods of War 3. Interesting one.
Okay.
Especially the
Was that
remaster.
PlayStation 3?
Well, they've done a remaster, so PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 as well. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, God of War 3 was just the pinnacle, in my opinion. Especially some of the bosses were just amazing. And trying to figure out how to beat them was that was many walkthrough websites.
I say I play these things on easy, so figuring out how to beat them is pretty easy for me.
Oh, yeah. I would say, hang on now. I would say Battle for Middle Earth 2, the
Oh,
Lord
that's
of the
a
Rings game.
PlayStation 2.
No, it was Xbox 360, which was a crap version. But the PC version was
Okay.
phenomenal, and many a night spent
Oh,
playing
hang on.
multiplayer.
I'm thinking of Battle for Middle Earth 2. Is this one of the action games or the RTS game?
The RTS, yeah.
Ah, okay. I'm
So
getting
you could
confused
have
with the
mods,
action games.
10,000 fighters, and all sorts of things. And many a night playing multiplayer with a friend of mine, we'd spend 4 hours a night trying to beat each other, stalemate,
And that's
whatever.
what gaming's all about. It's not necessarily about the game. It's about the memories.
That's the one. And I'd say top game of all time has got to be. It's got to, for me. I would say for me personally, it's Super Mario Kart, the original on the Super Nintendo. But I think overall, the best game ever made is Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo.
Which I only completed for the first time this year.
There we are.
And it
So
is a fantastic game.
it
I'd
is.
only ever played it and got to about the third level before because I'd never owned a device where I sat there and played it for a long time. But yes, fantastic
Yeah.
game. And for
Yeah.
me, yeah, probably, although Super Mario Wonder is fantastic, Super Mario World is for me probably the best
I think
Nintendo
also what needs an honorary mention
Super Nintendo game.
is Tetris on the Game Boy original.
Oh yes, brings back memories. Brings back memories of my mom who I was a naughty boy when I was a little boy, and
It's still naughty now.
my parents would take my Game Boy off me, and so they took my Game Boy off me, and my dad eventually bought my mom an LCD Tetris because they'd take the Game Boy off me, and then the occasional evening I'd go to bed and I'd hear ding 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 in the next room. Because my mom, bless her, rest in peace. She was she absolutely loved Tetris.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Hated other gaming things, but yeah, she had a little LCD one in the end.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, it's just such a simple but classic. It's one of these ones where, like, you mention it, and I'm just like, oh wow, yes,
Do you know there were
amazing
two
game.
versions of that game?
All I know, I do remember that the guy who invented it got absolutely nothing from it because it was basically the Russian or Soviet
government.
Federation.
Yeah. He has now. He's a multi-millionaire now, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that you invented that means even if you got nothing from it, you probably could have made a life out of it.
Well, the rights all the rights eventually got bought out, and he went into business with the guy that bought the rights, and he went to move to America and became like a multimillionaire, and they still own some of the brand now. But yeah, there were two versions. The Japanese version had different music, and it's quite rare if you get hold of the Japanese version.
It's iconic.
I know.
So. I mean, I just sang it. I hope we don't get told off on YouTube for singing that. But
you did an amazing copy of it. You could record that and put it over the game.
Oh, you'd be surprised. There are people on YouTube, I think, that have been reported for quite good copies, but generally, I think singing's okay.
Yeah. So, what was your top three provisional arcades then? Before
arcades. Well, I think definitely I think alternate between 4-player multiplayer, the Simpsons Fighter, or the Turtles one. They're both basically the same game, just different. Yeah, the same cabinet, the same 4 controls, whatnot. And then there's the ones that give me the best memories. Probably are, the Daytona USA. I still remember I worked at a bowling alley that had a 6 unit connection, and so whenever it was shut, the manager would put on free play, and we'd all sit there and race each other. And I got very good at that, but I still remember there was one guy who was just absolutely astounding at it, and he'd also get the 777 on the one arm bandit thing. So Daytona USA, and then again coming back to the arcades that I used to go back to in the 80s and 90s. Either Hard Driving, do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Hard Driving, or Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat, and then again that could be alternated with Street Fighter 2. And I still remember when Street Fighter 2, and you could play that in the arcades. There are other ones that bring back good memories. Lots of shoot 'em ups, like 1942. There was a space one at a leisure centre that I used to go to where there would. No, it was sort of that kind of bit more up to date than that. I say a bit more up to date, still the 1980s, but it was. There was a bullet per button press. So what we used to do was have one person controlling where it was, and the other person just sitting there furiously, pressing as hard as you. And so that's how we got all the high scores, and so you'd have 20 people all crowded around this machine watching you playing, kind of thing, and that's you don't get that nowadays, which is a shame, really, because it was a great social thing.
I remember watching my sons about 4 years ago completing Simpsons Arcade at home, emulated. And they both sat there for an hour and completed the game.
Nice.
I think they used like 2 continues, and that was it. And I was like, I couldn't complete this when
that's pretty good going. That is, yeah.
I've been trying to convince the missus to let me get them a arcade.
Evercade.
No, what's that new one that does the arcade cabinets? The Arcade 1-Up, is it?
Oh, there's various ones. I saw a thing in the news this week. They're called Quarter Arcade or something. Have made a perfect quarter-size replica of Space Invaders, and they've gifted one to the creator of Space Invaders.
Oh, wow.
So there's a video of the creator of Space Invaders playing this quarter-size one. And it's quite endearing, really, of this probably man in his 70s playing the Space Invaders, but the concentration on his face. He's obviously still, even in his possibly 70s, I don't know, still taking it really seriously. Yeah, I'm going to take it.
Well, Arcade 1-Up do slightly smaller scale arcade replicas, but they also do this box you can sit the arcade machine in, and it becomes a full-size arcade. You get a bar stool that you can buy as well, and they do everything from Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat, Simpsons. They do the 4-player Turtles, and it has like 4 or 5 different games on it. I've been trying to convince the missus so then I can put an emulated, Raspberry Pi in there. And
I'd love one of these glass coffee tables that has the joysticks on either side.
Oh yeah.
We have local to us. We have a microbrewery pub that has one of those in it that I've played on a few times, and I'd love one of those. Whether it's got Galaxian or Space Invaders on it or Pong, I don't really care. But if it had something like Street Fighter 2 on it,
we should go to that pub.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So Oh god, but there's so many arcades that we could chat about. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Afterburner, the Afterburner that not that had
The moving cabinet.
the 360 cabinet.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
And also the modern day version of that was the F-Zero cabinet that went upside down.
F-Zero, and it went upside down.
Yeah,
Blimey.
yeah.
Wow.
You can actually play that version on the GameCube. It's hidden within the GameCube game version.
Okay. I think, yes, I heard about that. It was one of these things that was discovered about 6 years later or something.
That's it, yeah. But the arcade one, I think it used to go upside down and round, very similar to Afterburner. So, yeah, fantastic.
Oh, excellent. Well, I
think that's it.
Joe, I was going to say, we could keep talking, but we'd end up just using up every single subject we got.
Let's do arcade
queued up. I was going to say, we'll do arcades and then we'll do something else. We'll just have nothing left to talk about in the next. But this is how much I think me and you both love gaming. Yeah. And we should mention as well, Martin had some technical issues this week and does hope to be back again next episode. So yeah. I think that's about it. So yeah, so like and subscribe on YouTube, and down down that side. Yeah, look, I put a little picture on there. I've worked out how to do that, which is literally just add image. That's it. So you can't see this where you are, Tom, but down there is a picture saying the gaming Pubcast. So you never know. By next time, there might be something down the whole bottom. We'll see if I have time to actually do that kind of stuff. But so yeah, look at me getting all technical.
That's it.
That's not.
We know we have live call-ins.
There'll be people that use obs like absolutely laughing their socks off right now, going, "Oh my god, has he just found out he could do that?" Yes, I have.
And on that note,
like and subscribe, leave us a review, anything like that, and I will see you next time, Tom.
Yes.
And yeah,
goodbye.
See you soon.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.